Okay, we're on question 85, part 3 of recording the final. Question 85. Zach and Missy bought a tract of land described as the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter of the southeast quarter. They paid $5,000 per acre. What was the total amount paid by Zach and Missy? Okay, so there's 640 acres in a total parcel of land. Okay, so you take 640 and there's three quarters. Okay, so you take 640 divided by 4 divided by 4 divided by 4 equals 10 total acres. They paid $5,000 per acre. Then you take 5,000 times 10 equals $50,000. Okay, so your answer would be C, $50,000. Okay, question 86. Information available from the county assessor's office reveals the assessed valuation of a certain property of $23,030. Homestead exemption is approved for the year on the property. The county tax levy of the area is 95 mills. The amount of ad valorem tax due on the property for 1 year would be... Okay, so we have A, $2,292.85, B, $2,092.85, $2,092.85, C, $2,187.95, or D, $2,303. Your answer is B, $2,092.85. Question 87. The north quarter of the southwest quarter of a section contains how many acres? A, 20, B, 80, C, 60, or D, 40? Your answer is D, 40. Okay? So what you do is you take the denominators of the sections. So you take the northwest quarter times the southwest quarter. 4 times 4 equals 16. Then you take 640 divided by 16, and that equals 40 acres. Question 88. A specific parcel of real estate has a market value of $160,000 and is assessed for tax purposes at 75% of market value. The tax rate for the county in which the property is located is 40 mills. The tax bill will be A, $6,400, B, $5,000, C, $5,200, or D, $4,800. So what you do is you're going to take the $160,000 and you're going to go for the 75%, you're going to go times 0.75. Then you're going to multiply that by the mill rate, which is 0.040. And that gives you question D, 480, 4,800. Okay, next question. Question 89. A buyer purchased a half parcel of land for $2.15 per square foot. What was the selling price of the parcel? A, $774, B, $46,827, C, $1,376, or D, $93,654. So for this, there's 43,560 acres in a whole. There's 43,560 square feet in an acre. So if she bought a half parcel of land, what you're going to do is divide that by 2, which gives you 21,780. Okay? Then you're going to take $2.15 and you're going to multiply that by 21,780. And that's going to equal 46,827, which is answer B. Remember, there's 43,560 square feet in a whole parcel of land. So if the buyer purchased a half-acre parcel of land, you just divide that by 2 and multiply the amount per square foot. Question 90. How many acres are contained in the tract described as beginning at the northwest corner of the southeast quarter, then south along the west line to the southwest corner of the section, then east along the south line of the section 2,640 feet, more or less, to the southeast corner of said northwest quarter, then in a straight line to the point of beginning. A, 80 acres, B, 320 acres, C, 160 acres, D, 40 acres. I can't remember how to do this one, but the answer is A, 80 acres. Okay. Question 91. An easement is A, an appurtenance to the holder of the dominant estate, B, an encumbrance to the holder of the servient estate, C, both A and B, or D, neither A nor B. 91 is C. It's both A and B. So an easement is an appurtenance to the holder of the dominant estate, and it's also an encumbrance to the holder of the servient estate. Question 92. A township is A, 6 miles square, B, 1 mile square, C, 6 square miles, or D, 1 square mile. Question 92 is A. It is 6 miles square. A township is 6 miles square. Question 93. The act of directing home seekers toward or away from a particular area with the intent to maintain or to change the character of the neighborhood is A, blockbusting, B, redlining, C, steering, D, redistribution. Your answer is C, steering. Question 94. A lender's refusal to lend money to potential homeowners attempting to purchase properties located in predominantly African American neighborhoods is known as A, redlining, B, steering, C, blockbusting, D, pre-qualifying. 94 is A, redlining. Remember, when you see lender in there, redlining has to do with home loans and lending. So that gives you the hint that it's redlining. Question 95. If a mortgage lender discriminates against a loan applicant on the basis of marital status, it violates what law? A, ADA, B, ECOA, C, Civil Rights Act of 1866, or D, Fair Housing Act. Your answer is D, Fair Housing Act. Question 96. Which of the following statements best explains the meaning of this sentence? To recover a commission for brokerage services, a broker must be employed as the agent of the client. A, the broker must work in a real estate office. B, The client must make an express or implied agreement to pay a commission to the broker. C, the broker must express an interest in representing the client. D, the broker must have a salesperson employed in the office. The answer is B. The client must make an express or implied agreement to pay a commission to the broker. Okay, question 97. A broker would have the right to dictate which of the following to an independent contractor. A, the number of hours the independent contractor must work each week. B, the detailed work schedule that the independent contractor must follow. C, the mandated attendance of sales meetings and trainings. D, the compensation of the independent contractor would receive. Your answer is D. The compensation the independent contractor would receive. Remember, if you're an independent contractor, they can't demand you to work a certain schedule or come in each week. The only thing they can do is talk about your compensation. Okay, question 98. In Oklahoma, a licensee helps a buyer and seller put together their paperwork in a particular transaction, but does not represent either party. This is A, consensual limited dual agency. B, prohibited. One party must always be represented. C, transactional brokerage. D, general agency. Question 98, your answer is C, transactional brokerage. Question 99, Kaysen, a young real estate licensee, placed a blind ad in a local newspaper. The distinction of a blind ad is that it does not properly A, give the address of the licensee. B, identify the brokerage company that has the listing. C, give the selling price of the property. D, show the address of the property. Question 99, the answer is B. Identify the brokerage company that has the listing. So a blind ad does not identify the brokerage company. Question 100, the primary purpose of the Truth in Lending Act is to A, save the general public money in their installment purchases. B, establish a more uniform set of charges. C, disclose to the consumer the cost and conditions of the installment purchase. D, assist the federal government in controlling shady lending practices. Your answer is C. Disclose to the consumer the cost and conditions of the installment purchase. That is the primary purpose of the Truth in Lending Act. Question 101. Which of the following are permitted under the Federal Fair Housing Act? A, advertising property for sale only to special groups. B, altering the terms of a loan for a member of a minority. C, refusing to sell a home to a member of a minority because of a poor credit history. D, telling an individual that an apartment has been rented when in fact it has not. The answer to question 101 is C. Refusing to sell a home to a member of a minority because of a poor credit history. You can refuse something because of their credit history, not because they're black or a member of a minority group. Okay, question 102. All of the following are prohibited by the Fair Housing Law of 1968 as amended, except A, discrimination in advertising, B, denial of availability of housing on the basis of religion, C, discrimination in terms or conditions for sale or rent, D, discrimination on the basis of age. The answer for 102 is D, discrimination on the basis of age. So all of the following are prohibited by the Fair Housing Law of 68 as amended, except discrimination on the basis of age. Question 103. All of the following are true for the inducement of panic selling in a neighborhood for financial gain, except A, it is prohibited by the Fair Housing Law of 1968. B, it is limited to fear of loss of value because of the changing of the racial composition of a neighborhood. C, it is known as blockbusting. D, the prohibition applies to licensed real estate agents. Question 103, the answer is B. It is limited to fear of loss of value because of the changing of the racial composition of a neighborhood. Question 104. Which of the following are personally liable to creditors for debt of the business? A, shareholders of a corporation. B, members of a general partnership. C, trust beneficiaries. D, employees of the corporation. The answer to 104 is B, members in a general partnership. So if you're in a general partnership and you invest in a certain company, you are personally liable to creditors for debt of the business. 105. From the list below, which would not be a physical characteristic of land? A, scarcity. B, indestructibility. C, fixed location. And D, heterogeneity. This one should be easy. 105 is A, scarcity. Scarcity is not a physical characteristic of land. It is an economic characteristic. So indestructibility is physical. Fixed location obviously is physical. It can't be moved. And heterogeneity refers to that no two parcels of land are alike. That's a physical characteristic. Question 106. From the list below, which would not be an economic characteristic of land? A, improvements. B, area preference. C, conformity. Or D, permanence of investment. Your answer is C, conformity. Conformity is not an economic characteristic of land. Improvements is an economic, area preference is economic, and performance of investment. Those are all economic. Question 107. Gary and Winnie owned the fee simple title to a vacant lot adjacent to a hospital and were persuaded by their daughter, Donna, a nurse, to make a gift of the lot. Gary and Winnie wanted to have some control over its use, so their attorney prepared a deed to convey ownership of the lot to the hospital, so long as it is used for hospital purposes. That's in parentheses. Okay? After completion of the gift, the hospital will own A, freehold estate. B, fee simple determinable estate. C, leasehold estate. D, fee simple absolute. Your answer to 107 is B, a fee simple determinable estate. Remember, a fee simple determinable, it has a condition added onto it. It's absolute ownership, but it has, hey, take off my thing. Ricky, I didn't say you could wear that. I haven't even worn it yet. Fee simple determinable has a condition added onto it. So as long as it's used for hospital purposes is why it's fee simple determinable. 108. Which of the following would not be included in the bundle of rights? A, possess. D, dispose. C, unrestricted use. D, exclude. So the answer to 108 is C, unrestricted use. Which of the following would not be included in the bundle of rights? Unrestricted use. So in the bundle of rights, you have the right to possess, the right to dispose, and the right to exclude. But you do not have unrestricted use. Question 109. Which of the following statements about encumbrances on real estate is true? A, easements and encroachments are always encumbrances on the land that is subject to them. B, the presence of an encumbrance makes it impossible to sell that property. C, all encumbrances must be removed before the title can be transferred. D, an encumbrance is of no monetary value to its owner. The answer to 109 is A. Easements and encroachments are always encumbrances on the land that is subject to them. Question 110. Kyle, Philip, and Billy were concurrent owners of a parcel of real estate. Billy died, and his interest passed according to his will to become part of his real estate. Billy was A, joint tenant, B, tenant by entirety, C, severalty owner, or D, tenant in common. Your answer to 110 is D, tenant in common. Remember, if you're a tenant in common, when you die, you can pass it to your will. It has no right of survivorship. The only thing that has right of survivorship is a joint tenant. Question 111. All of the following have been proven to pose a health hazard except A, radon, B, asbestos, C, electromagnetic fields, D, lead-based paint. This one should be easy. 111 is C, electromagnetic fields. So definitely radon, asbestos, and lead-based paint all have been proven to cause health problems. Question 112. Sealing off asbestos instead of removing it is called A, encapsulation, B, trapping, C, capping, D, harnessing. Question 112 is A. The sealing off of asbestos is called encapsulation. Question 113. What is the purpose of the Brownsfield legislation that became law in 2002? A. It restores agricultural areas damaged by oil spills. B. It regulates the magnitude of electromagnetic fields in certain areas. C. It imposes fines on entities that violate rules regulating the removal of toxins. D. It gives out funds to clean up polluted industrial sites. 113 is D. The purpose of the Brownsfield legislation is it gives out funds to clean up polluted industrial sites. Question 114. Asbestos, SBS, and lead paint are all examples of A. Issues beyond the scope of a property manager's job description. B. Problems faced only by newly constructed properties. C, issues that arise under the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act. D, environmental concerns that a property manager may have to address. Your answer is D. The answer to 114 is D, environmental concerns that a property manager may have to address. Question 115. Which of the following would be considered a variable expense when a manager develops an operating budget? A, employee wages. B, utilities. C, building repairs. D, basic operating costs. Your answer to 115 is C, building repairs. Building repairs would be considered a variable expense. Okay? Question 116. Mary Dale sells her rental property to Tim and Jim with 6 months left on the current lease she has with her renter. This future rent money after closing would go to A, Mary Dale, because she is the procuring cause of this renter. After 6 months are up, the rents after that period would be Tim and Jim's. B, all rental income is prorated to closing. Mary Dale would receive rental income up to the closing date, and Tim and Jim would receive all rental income post-closing. C, the rental income for the last 6 months left on the lease would be split 50-50 between Mary Dale and Tim and Jim. D, the lease with the current renter is automatically nullified when new ownership takes over. The answer to 116 is B. All rental income is prorated to closing. Mary Dale would receive rental income up to the closing date, and Tim and Jim would receive all rental income post-closing. Question 117. A semi-annual statement to an owner that does not reflect the entire debt service as an expense is called A, cash flow report. B, profit and loss statement. C, budget comparison statement. D, operating budget statement. The answer to 117 is B, profit and loss statement. So the semi-annual statement to an owner that does not reflect the entire debt service is called a profit and loss statement. Question 118. A commercial piece of real estate has 9,222,555 square feet. How many acres is it? A, 217.11. B, 210 acres. C, 211.72. D, 212.50. So 118. The answer is, hold on. Yeah, we're on 118. 118. Yeah. The answer is C. So I think that you take, since it's involving square feet, I think that you take that square feet and you divide it by the 43,560, and then you would end up with this. And then you'd end up with 211.72. 119. In order to protect a family from the financial irresponsibility of the head of household, Oklahoma provides a form of relief from creditors called A, credit insurance. B, homestead exemption. C, dower. D, eminent domain. The answer to 119 is B, homestead exemption. So in order to protect a family from financial irresponsibility of the head of household, Oklahoma provides a form of relief called the homestead exemption. Question 120. Which of the following statements is true of complaints relating to the Civil Rights Act of 1866? A. They must be taken directly to the federal courts. B. They are no longer reviewed in the courts. C. HUD handles all complaints relating to the Civil Rights Act of 1866 now. D. These complaints are handled and designated by state agencies now. The answer to 120 is A. They must be taken directly to federal courts. Question 121. Why is the Civil Rights Act of 1866 unique? A. It has been broadened to protect the aged. B. It adds welfare recipients as protected class. C. It contains choose your neighbor provisions. D. It provides no exemption that would permit racial discrimination. 121, your answer is D. That's right. It provides no exemption that would permit racial discrimination. The reason why the Civil Rights Act of 1866 is unique, it has no exemption that would permit racial discrimination. Question 122. Ross, a real estate salesperson, made the statement, I hear they're moving in. There goes the neighborhood. You should put your house on the market now before values drop. This is an example of A. Steering. B. Blockbusting. C. Redlining. D. Fraudulent advertising. The answer to 122 is B. Blockbusting. So if you go around the neighborhood and you say, hey, these bad people are moving in, let me sell your house before the values drop, that is blockbusting. Question 123. The Oklahoma Residential Landlord and Tenant Act does not govern A. Institutional residency. B. Extend and stay hotels. C. Occupancy under a contract for deed. D. All of the above. Your answer to 123 is D. All of the above. The Oklahoma Residential Landlord and Tenant Act does not govern all of the above. Institutional residency, extended stay hotels, and occupancy under the contract for deed. Question 124. A lessee generally may A. Sublet if desired. B. Sublet only for short periods of time. C. Sublet only if the lease permits it. D. May never sublet. Your answer is C. Sublet only if the lease permits it. It has to state in the lease first, and then you can sublet. Okay? Question 125. When a landlord begins the eviction process, the usual first step in the process is called A. Notice to evacuate. B. Notice to quit. C. Notice to respond. D. Notice to pay or leave. Answer 125 is B. Notice to quit. When a landlord begins the eviction process, the usual first step in the process is called B. Notice to quit. Question 126. The tenant pays for his own utilities and makes one payment each month to the landlord for the commercial space he is leasing. The landlord takes care of the taxes, insurance, and maintenance on the space. This arrangement would best be what This arrangement would best be what kind of lease? Would best describe what kind of lease? A, net lease. B, gross lease. C, percentage lease. Or D, a lease option. Question 126 is B, a gross lease. Let me make sure. Yep. B, gross lease. So if the tenant pays for his own utilities and makes one payment each month to the landlord for a commercial space, the landlord takes care of taxes, insurance, and maintenance on the space, you're looking at a gross lease. 27. The estate created when the landlord and tenant enter into an agreement that automatically renews. A, tenancy of years. B, tenancy at will. C, tenancy at sufferance. D, periodic tenancy. 127 is D, periodic tenancy. So if the estate created when the landlord and tenant enter an agreement that automatically renews, that's called periodic tenancy. Question 128. A tenant's right to occupy real estate during the term of any given lease, generally held to be a personal property interest, describes A, a leasehold estate. B, a lease purchase. C, a lease option. D, a net lease. 128 is C, a lease option. A tenant's right to occupy real estate during the term of any given lease, generally held to be personal property interest, describes a lease option. When a real estate licensee is filling out the seller's property condition disclosure form, he or she must be sure, A, that all the blanks on the form are filled in. B, that the seller is present when the form is being filled out. C, that the OREC, Oklahoma Real Estate Commission, has a file copy. C, that the licensee filling out the form is the seller himself or herself. The answer to 129 is D, that the licensee filling out the form is the seller, herself or himself. Question 130. Once the seller has completed the seller's property condition disclosure form, it is good for how many days? A, 60 days. B, until the property sells. C, 90 days. D, 180 days. The answer to question 130 is D, 180 days. The property condition disclosure form is good for 180 days. Question 131. If a seller becomes aware of a defect after delivery of the seller's property condition disclosure form, he or she may A, the seller has no further obligation due to the law of caveat emptor.